You're watching the Matt to Matt Show, where we talk about...
Quiet, please.
Excuse me.
Exactly 15 seconds, we'll be on the air.
Where we talk about everything that's important to you. From science and technology to pop culture and social commentary. Featuring your hosts, Right Matt, Left Matt, and the disembodied voice of Joe. This is where the conversation begins. Now let's have a chat. Matt to Matt. And we're live, finally. Welcome back to another episode of Matt to Matt. Joining me, as always, off screen and out of sight, but not out of mind, is the disembodied, re-embodied voice of Joe. Thanks for being here, Joe. Or being there.
Good evening.
Left Matt. He started school this week, so I'm just going to assume it's I'm gonna say he's buried under a pile of homework. He sent me pictures. I'm not gonna share them. They're pretty graphic. It's just it's that senior year, man, of high school. It buries you.
High school.
So yeah. So we're gonna do the show anyway, even though he's not here, because that's how we do it. We know you guys are expecting us 25 minutes ago.
No, 20 minutes.
Yeah, you weren't expecting us 25 minutes ago. You should have been, but you're smart, and you weren't. So, let's see. Greetings, Constantine. So happy to see you here. Well, a couple of announcements. We've talked about it amongst ourselves. I think I talked to Joe about it. I feel like I talked to Joe about it.
Maybe.
We're going to be adjusting the time of the show. We're going to be bumping it. I always say this the wrong way. Are we going to be bumping it up an hour, meaning it's sooner in the day? That's what bumping up is,
you'd
right?
be knocking it down an hour.
See, we're going to move it up. That's what I mean. We're going to move that up. That's been moved up, means closer to now.
No, you're moving it. No, you're moving it down. Moving it up would be further away, don't you think?
That's what I would think, but for some reason, it's not the way I always think. And so either way, it's going to be 8. We're going to do 8 o'clock next week. That's the new time.
8 o'clock. Whose time?
8 o'clock my time. 8 o'clock Eastern. As you can see on the screen, it says 9 p.m. Eastern. Now I will have to change it to, that's right. the disembodied voice of Joe re-embodied in a completely different time zone. So, are you going to be back by then? I just realized I have no idea when you're coming.
I get back Tuesday.
Tuesday. Oh, okay. It is a Tuesday. Got it. I need left on a Tuesday. Speaking of which, bumping up is correct. Yeah, see, and it always sounds wrong. So I'm always like, if we're bumping it down? Yeah, that's been moved up to today. Yes. So how is your trip going, by the way?
It's pretty good. Believe it or not, it's cold.
It's cold.
Should be getting warmer on the weekend. Yeah, it went below freezing here in Texas.
Okay, yeah.
It was actually colder here some days than it was over there in New Jersey.
Wow. Well, I mean, those probably overlapped slightly. I mean, we had like 2 below a week and a half ago. So. Just saying. It's not a competition or anything, but if it was, we'd be winning. As you can see, look over here. There's still snow in the studio. It's a shame. So yeah, we had a couple things we want to talk about tonight. Some interesting things going on in the world.
We've probably heard a lot about Bitcoin.
What the heck?
Digital currency
Bitcoin.
that
So,
you want to talk about Bitcoin, huh?
Let's start there. Let's see if this formats correctly. Nope. Guess again. All right. Let's see. Yeah, so Bitcoin did weird things. What was the deal with? Whoa,
Weird things.
No,
I mean, besides go up and down like it normally does.
No. It went up and down spectacularly, and then
Doesn't it always do that?
no, in a negative way. I don't know. Does it? Where is it right now? Because you made a comment earlier, and I didn't have a chance to look up. Did it bounce back up?
It's at 11,000, 11.4 thousand.
Oh, okay. So it is going up-ishly. That's good. That's small screen. Why is the small screen off screen? All right. Well, then I'll have to do it this way. I had to rearrange a few things, and as usual, everything's a bit behind. So, in your what now?
My sister tagged me in an Onion article about Bitcoin. Actually, it wasn't really an article. It was more of a it's more of just a picture. It just said, and with a headline, it was like, breaking, Bitcoin value currently plummeting. No, wait, skyrocketing. No, plummeting. I just thought that was funny.
Everyone, beware. Oh, just kidding. Beware. That's awesome.
Yeah, but I mean, that's normal. This is, I don't know. That seems to be its behavior. That's how people make money off of it.
Yeah.
It'd be weird if it just stood still at the same price for like a day or two.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, that's true. But there's a difference between quiverings and large motions. I mean, technically, none of us are ever holding still all the way, but there's a difference between jumping, leaping, and sitting in a chair. So Bitcoin would be nice. I think some people think it would be nice if it sat in a chair for a day or two, and it does not. It does not sit in the chair. It jumps, it skips, it runs about. So, yeah, Bitcoin keeps tumbling. It's been up and down. So actually I wanted to talk about the story I sent, what was it, last week before, about the government selling was it $8 million worth of Bitcoin?
That one article we were talking about with the vehicles.
You said they got rid of it early or something? Because I was like, yeah, they're selling it, and this was like a week ago, and you were like, oh, a shame they got rid of it, but it fell. So was it a good thing they got rid of it a while ago? I couldn't tell if you were being sarcastic. Is that a song yet?
As far as I know from the article, when they were considering selling it, I don't. Weren't there two different currencies that they were?
Yes, they had Bitcoin and they had Bitcoin Cash, I think. I'm actually pulling it up so that I can reference it properly.
I think they had about the same amount of both. It was like 512, 513.
Yeah.
But one of them was at 300, and I think this was several years ago. So,
wait, what was several years ago?
It doesn't matter how you that they sold it.
Oh no, this was a week ago.
Let me see if I can find the article.
Yeah, I have it pulled up right now. So it says U.S. government to sell $513 or 513 Bitcoin and 512 Bitcoin Cash seized from dark web dealer. An $8.5 million sale. So it might be a different article than what you were looking at. Possibly.
No, I think okay. I remember the picture. And the
yeah, that one.
And like the that title over the picture.
Yeah. Cash seized from dark web dealer. Yeah, so what was interesting, and I pointed this out to Joe when I sent it to him. What was weird is the coverage of this. If you look down right here where we are, it says U.S. government also expressed its concerns over high volatility rate of Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash, which is why they're selling it. They got it from a dark web dealer, like the headline says. Suggested they sell the two cryptocurrencies before their value depreciated. And then it goes to quote here, and I read the actual court document. They added these brackets where it says Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash. So it says the vehicles, Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash, have been seized and are in custody and control of the United States Marshal Service. Every month, the USMS, United States Marshal Service, is accruing $465 a month in storage fees for these vehicles, Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash. The total expense for these two vehicles, Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash, currently is $5,010.70. The Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash have been transferred to a government wallet. due to the volatile market for cryptocurrencies. The BTC and BCH risk losing value during the pendency for the forfeiture proceedings. So those are actually two separate statements. This is the only story. I saw this one first. Was it the 8th when this happened? So like, a week and a half ago. And I was like, wait, they're charging them that much to store Bitcoin? Like, why? It's just digital numbers. So yeah, it says in here they're auctioning it off, which I thought was a bit odd. But if you look here at the beginning, it says the government is expected to sell all the assets seized after an arrest of Shamo, including a Ford F-350 pickup and a BMW 135i, and the millions of dollars worth of Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash. So when it says vehicles down here, it means cars. It means vehicles. Why did they add brackets explaining to you they mean Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash? They don't. They don't mean that. They don't at all.
It does
in the
make
original
more sense.
It makes a lot more sense because vehicle. I was like, that's weird. I didn't know they called like it's a vehicle for transferring your value of stuff. I have no idea. I thought that was very odd. And then it dawned on me: $465 a month in storage fees for for cars. That's how much it costs to store cars. And then on a separate note, Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash, they've been moved to a government wallet where it doesn't cost that much a month to store things. So yeah, I thought that was weird. But I Googled it and I saw like a bunch of people asking, is the government auctioning off Bitcoin? How can I bid on this Bitcoin? No, they're auctioning off 2 cars, which is what they do. They're also just selling Bitcoin and I read the court documents. They're very specific. They separate these two quite easily. They are auctioning the vehicles and they are selling the Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash in 50 coin increments, slowly over time, quickly, but at a reasonable rate as to not just dump it in the market. You were saying?
Well, I saw that title. I don't know if that was a separate article, but it says how the U.S. government lost $2.36 billion.
Which
from Bitcoin because they sold it right away.
That's a different thing then? Sorry. Yes, I thought you meant the top line.
Right
no,
there.
this one. U.S. government lost 1.6 by selling Bitcoin early. In October, it was disclosed that U.S. government sold, yes, this is what you were talking about, 144,336 Bitcoins at a price of $336 per Bitcoin. The entire batch of that many Bitcoins were sold at 48 million at the time.
That is
the
a
U.S.
lot of
government
money they could have
sold
gotten.
sold Bitcoin
300 versus
2.0 was it 2.36 billion? Yeah, that's a lot.
They should have followed your advice. You should have just sold half of it.
Exactly. What you do, you sell half, and if it tanks, you're like, hey, I got some money, and if it rises, you're like, hey, I didn't lose all my money. So either it's hedging your bets. It's like on so I play this is related, I swear. I play a Payday 2. And at the end of every mission, there's like a lottery. It's like pick a card, and there's always 3 cards. And they're all random all the time. And I used to just like pick a card at random, and every time I'd be frustrated. I'm like, oh, I knew I should have picked the left card, but I picked the right card. I pick the center card every time now, so that it is what it is, and I don't go, oh, I knew I should have picked the left one or the right one, because it doesn't matter. At whatever point, it does not matter which one I have picked in the past or which one the one next to it is. So that's my. Is that sounds logical to you? Gee, this camera's going everywhere.
It's logical as long as it's random, because if they figured out your strategy of always picking the middle one, they could always put it in the left one, and you would never get it.
Luckily, it's not like an online lottery kind of thing. It's not like CS:GO skins lottery where they're really making sure. It's like, do you want points or cash? Like, it's that kind of a lottery. So, or a scope for your gun. There's that. All right. So, what? Not you. What is going on?
Have you heard about the exploding meteor?
Is that the one the size of a
in the news.
That's the one that's the size of a skyscraper? No, I didn't mean to
No,
do that.
that one missed us.
Missed us or is missing us?
I think that one.
Oh,
It was
okay. By whose logic? By my
It
logic.
was. It was. That was like a hazardous, but it was still like 4 times farther out than the moon. So.
Oh, okay.
No, there's they call it a bolide. In fact, we can make that the word of the day if you want.
Bolide is
It's,
word of the day.
Yeah, bolide is
Town in Michigan.
I think it was by Michigan. Any extraterrestrial body that collides with Earth often refers to an extremely bright meteor.
A large meteor that explodes in the atmosphere. From the Greek, bolus,
Yeah.
meaning missile, to Latin, bolus or bolid, to early 19th century, bolide, or in French, bolir. Nice. Oh, hey, look, and here's a bunch of stories about bolides. What exactly is a bolide? Well, scroll up. Interesting. Okay, so you were saying that's word of the day. Thank you.
Yep. Mm-hmm. And actually, you posted something on Facebook about the Death Star.
Yeah, yeah, it was.
I didn't actually get that.
Well, it was some guy. He used it as a simile. I think it was the guy from Project Veritas. What is his name? James O'Keefe. James O'Keefe was talking to Andrew Klavan, and he's like, "Yeah, the big media companies, they're afraid of us." And I think he used it backwards. I think he meant to say they're the Death Star, but he was like, "We're like the Death Star. The more they shoot at us, the bigger we get." I was like, "Wait, what?" We're like the Death Star. The more they shoot at us, the bigger we get. None of that makes any sense. Not only if that was true,
speaking of logic.
it wouldn't even be a good simile if that were the way the Death Star worked. But it also isn't the way the Death Star works. Plus, in this story, if they're the big media companies, you're not the Death Star. They are. So I don't know. Yeah, so...
Okay, well, I guess that makes more sense.
It does.
Since you were posting it for it not making sense.
I know. I don't know why. I like things out of context like that make people go, wait, what? I don't know why. I find a little bit of joy in people's confusion. I'm sure that shows. Potentially hazardous asteroid, this is the one I was referring to, bigger than Earth's tallest building, will zoom past us next month.
Mm-hmm.
Potentially hazardous asteroid, known as 2002 AJ129, it's a sexy name, is set to fly by Earth at a whopping 67,000 miles per hour next month. But there is no need to worry, scientists say. Gotta love scientists. What would we do without scientists? Worry,
At
probably.
least this time.
Well, we wouldn't worry because we wouldn't know without
That's right.
scientists or citizen scientists even. The 0.7 mile long body, larger than the tallest building on Earth, Dubai's half-mile high Burj Khalifa skyscraper, will rocket past our planet on February 4th by 2.6 million miles, giving it no chance of hitting us, in case you were curious. So, potentially hazardous asteroids or PHAs.
Yeah, so don't worry about. Yeah, they
are not uncommon.
They're probably just since that sounds dangerous, a potentially hazardous. It sounds like we have to worry about whether it's going to hit us or not. But that's just
it's like all that non-poisonous food they sell. You're like, it's not. Wait, it's what? I said non-poisonous. Why'd you bring up poison? Why? Who said anything about poison? Yeah, this potentially hazardous asteroid, but it's not. It was potentially hazardous, or it is? Is it still? Is there still potential for hazard? I don't know.
It's mostly harmless. Mostly harmless.
Yes.
Speaking of mostly harmless, you remember how Apple admitted to slowing down older iPhones to compensate for smaller battery capacity or reduced battery capacity? Well, Tim Cook.
Sorry.
Was that music for Tim Cook?
That was an accident.
Tim Cook says that. He says that Apple. Well, he didn't say it like this, but Apple will condescend to give their users an option to turn the performance throttling
off in the next
on or off
iOS
in the future,
update?
in a future update. So
Isn't
thought
that
that
just
was
called
nice.
like performance mode? Isn't that like eco mode? Like most devices, I
Yeah,
say this,
like
I say
battery
this
saving
very
mode or something.
generally.
Mhm.
Most devices have
Yep.
like a battery saver mode.
Yep.
So essentially, they were just like,
that's
your
basically
phone is in ghost battery saver mode, and you don't know it, and you can't turn it off. You're welcome. So essentially, they're just going to be like, oh, we'll give you battery saver mode. Does iPhone not have a battery saver mode already? Maybe. I don't know. I have 3 battery saver modes on my phone and a boosted performance mode. So there's like 4 settings. I leave it on boosted performance mode because either way, my battery lasts all day. So I'm just saying, it's
Do they work? They
yeah.
work. So they work. That's good.
yeah, it's an S. It's a yeah. Well, it's an S. It's an S8.
I don't know.
So it's a
Maybe
good
Apple
phone.
just figured, people just, always try and keep performance mode on. So they're like, why give them the option if they're just going to leave it on?
No, I mean like performance mode. Like it kicks it in high gear. It like overclocks the thing and heightens the
Oh, that's what
resolution.
you're talking about. The
Yeah.
opposite of battery saving.
Yeah, it has battery saver, normal, and performance, which is like just run my gas dry. So I leave it on performance mode, and it performs all day.
Nice.
Quite actually, very happy with it. So that's all right. Apple treats its customers very differently than other companies do, and that's fine. Some people like to be coddled and told how to work their cell phones and other technology
And how to live their life.
and how to live their life. Thank you, Apple, for letting us know. So here's something that's been happening, if you didn't know. Flu war zone cripples California hospitals. Tents set up to handle influx
Oh, I
of
heard about
patients.
that.
They've been setting up tents outside hospitals in California because of all of the flu patients they have. So let's look at this real quick. California hospitals have been overwhelmed with flu patients this year. At least 42, and it scrolled wrong. At least 42 people younger than 65 have died in the state. They say 65 because when you're over 65, the flu is more dangerous for you. And I do believe. Sorry, this is why we're changing the time, folk.
Earlier bedtime.
Yes, earlier bedtime for me. Yeah, so people over 65 and under, I forget how old, are particularly
People over
susceptible.
65 and under.
And under how, I forget how old. It's like under 6 months or under 6 years or something. So very young and very old people are at higher risk of the flu. And so specifically, people in that range, 42 people younger than 65 have died in the state since October, that was. In California, since October, 65 people have died from
Wow,
the flu.
from the flu.
From the flu. Some hospitals have set up tents to triage the ill. The flu epidemic has hit the entire nation. Has been particularly brutal in California, where the situation at area hospitals is being characterized. I think that's characterized. Sorry. I'm
Yeah, I think
fascinated.
that's supposed to be characterized.
It's a medical thing, so I'm like,
messed up
am I
that
looking at is cauterized? Is that how you spell cauterized? As a flu war zone. Hospitals are so overwhelmed by the influx of patients, they have been forced to fly in nurses from out of state and are turning away ambulances from the flu. That is not something you'd expect. What's interesting about that is there are actually nurses who take jobs like that because they pay like 24-hour pay. Like even when you're not working, you're working. So they pay you like 24 hours a day, like double time normal nurse shifts. And then you can travel around and work at high volume areas like that and make a lot of money and work under very stressful circumstances. So you're like a nurse special ops person, just like running around being where they need really valuable people. Interesting.
Speaking of California, did you hear about that other news story that came out of there recently? About
Maybe.
13 kids.
That was California? I thought that was France.
Fortunately, it's California.
I did, actually. Briefly. There's been way too much news in the last, 5 days. Last week. It's been hard to keep track of all of it. I did not look into that much, but I do know what you are referring.
13 children, age range 2 to 29, held captive in their house. And it feels like every day they come out with like worse and worse details of the situation. But I mean, it looked, but like their neighbors didn't, like a lot of neighbors didn't even realize the family had kids, but they're basically chained to their beds every day, fed once a day, allowed to shower once a year. The only reason they were discovered is because one of them, a 17-year-old, escaped through a window and showed proof from pictures that this was happening to police. I think they made a 911 call. Yeah, that's pretty crazy. There's
yeah.
I mean, they have there's family pictures and stuff. They went to Disney World. Disney World, I think, is the one near in California. But yeah, and it was they were a family. But yeah, that's crazy. They said some of the kids were so malnourished that they looked much younger than they actually were.
Yeah, that's what I had heard.
The ones that were in their 20s were they looked like teenagers.
Yeah, somebody said the 27-year-old looked. That's zoomed in too much. So here is the family. If I can get the darn thing to format right on my screen. Here, wow. Yep.
Yeah, and a lot of physical abuse going on in that house too.
And that was in California?
That was in California.
Yeah, Riverside, California.
All the victims were and are severely malnourished. One of the children at age 12 is the weight of an average 7-year-old. The 29-year-old female victim weighs 82 pounds. Supposedly homeschooled, the children lack they lack a basic knowledge of life. Many of the children didn't know what a police officer was. The 17-year-old, when asked if there was medication or pills in the home, didn't know what medication or pills were.
That's crazy. Very sad.
Turpins pled not guilty.
None of the victims were allowed to shower more than once a year. The parents would apparently buy food for themselves and not allow the children to eat it. They would buy food, including pies, apple pies, pumpkin pies, leave it on the counter, let the children look at it, but not eat the food.
He said several of the children
The
have
victims
cognitive
report that as a
impairments.
punishment, starting
you get treated like that, you're going to have
they
cognitive
began to be
impairment.
tied up. First with ropes, these defendants eventually began using chains and padlocks to chain up the victims to their beds. About the only thing the children were allowed to do in their rooms or chained up was to write in journals. We now have recovered those journals, hundreds of them, and we are combing through them for evidence.
Judge
They were
set
allowed to
bail
write in
for
journals. Wow,
12
that's
million
interesting.
each.
I didn't hear that.
So I guess they could read at least a little if they were writing in journals.
Read and write, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that also charged. Yeah, this changed from 2 to 29. Like I said, I saw a lot of people covering this, but yeah, that's just hard. That's
Yeah,
right.
there's a lot going on in California.
just
So there's I saw another news article. Parts of California are trying to secede,
Yeah, what the heck?
break it up into smaller bits.
Was it New California they were going to make it?
I don't know. I actually didn't hear about any names.
Well,
I mean, I guess that would make sense. I actually heard at one point they wanted to do 3, so I guess you'd have North and South, and then maybe New or something else.
yeah. I know Constantine made a video about this.
Really?
Yeah. Well, he makes videos about all the interesting things. Yeah, I can't remember. I can't remember if it was. I didn't watch it yet. It was either why I do agree or why I don't agree. Was it a do or a don't, Constantine? I forget. I'm gonna look it up. Why does it not let me click on his? Oh, let me click on his thing. Go to channel. Constantine's commentary. Yeah. Why I support hashtag New California and other. I do agree. Other similar movements. Why? It looks like, let's get this up here. New California. Where's the picture of that? Oh, gee. Maps. You want a map of New California? Is there one yet? Is that already a thing?
What? How it's going to be divided?
Yeah.
People have ideas.
Yeah, I was looking for one of the ideas, but I Googled New California, and it's like, do you want to Google that in maps? No. Yeah, see, there you go. Look at this.
Yeah.
It's
Well, I
like-
mean,
Here you go. You can
maybe
have
the
all of
rural
your
areas.
You can make all of your crappy Los Angeles, San Francisco places, and Sacramento. Oh, it just hooks around Sacramento, and then
Yeah.
you
Well,
guys
it's probably
California.
rural versus densely populated, urban.
Yeah. My brother lives north of just outside Sacramento. At least he did. I think he may have moved. He's moving, or he just moved to Portland. So, yes, NCR when? New California Republic. I'm sorry, I missed what NCR is, and I probably just said it. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm not sure what it is.
Because less centralized power. I do, well, yeah. But the idea
New
is there is
California
less
Republic.
centralized power.
That's in Fallout Wikia.
Wait a second. I would ask, and I know you know the answer, but I'm going to look it up. Does California, I'm going to ask it anyway. Does California give all of its electoral votes to one single candidate, or does it divide them? Because some states divide them. New Vegas, fantastic game. Yes, I agree. That's the only Fallout I ever played. They have Fallout 4 VR that came out. Had to work it in somehow. Came out in December, and I haven't played it yet because it's the price of Fallout 4. Even though if you own the game already, which I don't, but if you own the game already, which is $60, you have to buy the whole new game, which is the same game, but in VR, all over again for another $60. But I have been looking at the charts on Steam, and it is the most played game in VR for like 3 weeks straight. So, apparently,
My brother's been playing Fallout, not on VR, but yeah, I guess it is.
the new Fallout.
I don't
Fallout
know
4.
if it's the new one.
There's a lot of Fallout. There's a lot of Fallout. So it's winner take all. Okay, yes. Then in that case, because I was gonna say we do separate power. There's different. That's why we elect more than just 2 senators. We also have congressmen.
Oh yeah, it is Fallout 4.
But they just lean over and be like, "Yeah, that's the one." Yes, but I was going to say the reason we have a certain amount of congressmen and then 2 senators per state, that's decentralized power. But when it comes to electing presidents, certainly that is. Well, hey, then you'd get 2 senators from New California and 2 senators from Old California.
Yeah, I guess you
4
would.
is most recent, late 2015. Yeah. So, oh, governor. See, all the levels of government. I don't even think about these things at first. all these all the things that would be affected by that. You'd end up with another governor, and it looks like a bit of gerrymandering going on here, but you'd end up with different demographics, voting blocks in different rather than California as a whole. Yeah, that's interesting. I obviously think the implementation and the actualization of that kind of an idea would take way too much work. Maybe it just hasn't happened in my lifetime.
They have to want it enough.
No, I mean, I think there are enough things from the top to the bottom that would have to go, no, wait. That would mean we would have to such and such, thus and so, that enough people would be like, yeah, I ain't doing that. We would much rather things stay the same. It's a shame, but as a population, we would much rather everything just stay the same. So
yeah, until it reaches a certain point of uncomfortability. Once it gets uncomfortable enough.
And then we just elect some crazy guy and throw him in the White House and close the door and lock it and go like, by the end, something will have happened.
Oh, that's bad.
I didn't say it was good. I didn't say it was good, but it's different.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's bad for democracy. If not enough people get involved, it turns into something else.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, yeah. Well, that's why we can open the door in a couple of years and be like, all right, get out of there. How's the place look? Does it look good? We'll give you another 4 years in there. And that's the beauty of America. So.
Well,
I'm reading this so much interesting things in the chat tonight. Thanks, Guy. So all right. I had at least one more thing I wanted to hit on. Here's a fun fact for you. Did you know medical errors are the number 3 cause of U.S. deaths? Researchers say. Apparently, these are not logged as well as they should be on death certificates. There you go. That's a beautiful picture right there. Doctors kill you almost as often as cancer. So the leading cause of death in the U.S. is heart disease and cancer. Wait, is it cancer and heart disease or heart disease and cancer? Those are 1 and 2. And then number 3 is believed to be medical errors. And those medical errors, medical mistakes that can lead to death range from surgical complications that go unrecognized to mix up with the doses or types of medications patients receive. I think it was Joe Rogan, someone on Joe Rogan talking about this.
I always had a suspicion of that.
What? Joe Rogan?
That medical errors were a big part. No, were like a big thing.
Yeah.
Like just like, people make mistakes. It's part of life, and people surely that must happen in the medical.
What happens a lot, apparently,
as well.
like more often than it should, is people getting the wrong medication because of handwritten scripts. 'Cause for years, that's what doctors would do. And if there's the old, joke of, doctor's handwriting, it's so sloppy. Like it is, when one letter or number looks different, somebody gets the wrong pills and they die because they're not taking medication they need, or they're taking medication they should not have. So that actually happens quite a bit, I was told. But that's certainly a large part of this. And then mistakes from things that doctors don't catch, or things that doctors do on accident or misdiagnose something. It says, no one knows the exact toll taken by medical errors. In significant part, that's because the coding system used by CDC to record death certificate data doesn't capture things like communication breakdowns, diagnostic errors, and poor judgment that cost lives, the study says. It's one of those things about growing up.
Maybe they should change that.
Maybe they should. It's one of those things about growing up and becoming an adult. You realize that the doctor isn't like a god and just perfect and knows everything and always is never like late for dinner and in a rush and will just be like, yeah, sounds good. Obviously, it takes a certain kind of person to be a doctor. Yeah. It takes a certain kind of person to be a good doctor, but people are still human. So you are ultimately,
as Will Durant said in A Story of Civilization. He says, the doctor or surgeon can always bury his mistakes, but the architect can only recommend that you get a nice like some nice vines to cover up, a faulty wall or window.
Yep, that's rough. But ultimately, you are responsible for your own health. Yeah, so that's this is an NPR article, by the way. This was published beginning of last year, or when was this? Year before. I think it was the end of the year before. Oh no, it's almost 2 years old. Time flies, doesn't it? May 2016.
Yeah.
So, oh no, Dogface is locked up. Okay, there he goes. So, so that's a fun thing
Doge.
to fun thing to make the Doge face.
Yeah.
You got to turn to the side. You got to turn to the side. Like that. I don't think it's tracking. I like how the.
Oh, you're right. I did. How did I lose tracking? Oh, there we go.
Not quite, but hey, that's close. When you throw your clock, it does. Time flies. Funny. Boom. Very nice. Very nice. So
Time flies like an arrow.
fruit
Time
flies,
flies like
a
an arrow.
banana.
Fruit flies like a banana.
I realized as soon as I started talking, I'm like, oh no, we're on Skype. He's not going to hear me talking over him until I've already talked over him. Sorry. I ruined your joke. I apologize.
No, it's fine.
I'm so used to your essence being in the same room. So yeah. So I want to get your opinion on something, if I could put you on the spot.
Who, me or Constantine?
You. So
Okay.
this
Put me
whole
on the
thing,
spot.
I have really mixed feelings about the whole, the alleged comments that Donald Trump supposedly made behind doors about other countries being crap holes.
Mm-hmm.
I was so confused
Yes.
on so many levels about that, because I couldn't tell, and I'm not saying nothing was wrong with any of that, but I couldn't tell at what level people were upset. Like, why were we upset? I couldn't figure out why we were supposed to be upset. That he said it, that he thought it, that he used a bad word to convey that thought, or that because he picked those countries to call. Like, are you allowed to call a country a crap hole? Are you just not allowed to call those countries crap holes? Is it
It's
just not okay for the president to call them crap holes? Can he call them bad countries, just not curse? I'm like, wait. All I know is people are outraged and crying, literally crying. I think it was Cory Booker, mayor of New York, governor of New York. I forget. Cory Booker was like, well, he's not anymore. He used to be. He was screaming he was some committee meeting. He was yelling about how I cried tears of rage when I heard that the president called a third world country a crap hole. I'm not I have a hard time having an opinion of it one way or the other, just because everyone's just lost their mind over it. So, I mean,
Sounds extremely disrespectful, but I mean,
exactly. So, I mean, it's not the best thing to say, but he didn't say it at a press conference. He said it in a closed door meeting where no one there were no. I'm not saying it's a good thing to say. I'm saying it's different when you tweet that. If he were to tweet
Yeah.
we need less people from these crap hole countries, Haiti, and did he refer to El Salvador? Because I know there was talk of
don't
El
know.
Salvador, of why do we need people? I don't remember if he called El Salvador a crap hole. It's not the cleanest of places. Maybe he was speaking literally. I lived in El Salvador. There were literally a lot. Indoor plumbing was not a thing in a lot of places. So
yeah. Well, when you're talking about accepting people from that country, I don't think you're talking about the plumbing.
no, of course not. Obviously not. But yes, it's confusing as to why Dick Durbin would go and say, do you know what he said behind those doors? He said this terrible, horrible, no good, very bad thing. And it's a shame, because now that he said that, everyone's going to be in an uproar. Well, since I told you that. But since I told you that he said that everyone's going to be in an uproar and this is just going to ruin our talks, we're just not going to be able to work anything out now. Thanks, Trump, for ruining this whole negotiation we've had. And it's a week later, and everybody's still like, yeah, but like, did he say it? And no one's actually fixing the problem. And it's kind of makes you wonder, hey, Dick Durbin, did you say that so that you wouldn't have to keep like the negotiation going? Because as of that point, full stop on all negotiations on DACA, and just all this focus on how Trump is obviously racist. I don't know how anyone can see that as like, I don't know. Obviously planned. Why would Dick Durbin say that he said that?
I actually don't have any, like, I don't really have much more.
These are semi rhetorical questions. But I mean, like, he literally said, this is a shame because now we can't work out a deal because now just, this whole thing is just turned into an uproar. You did that, dude. You did that. You could have just gone home and been like, wow, that was so sad that the president feels that way. What a shame. I don't know. Write it in your diary. But if you wanted it to not mar the negotiations, you shouldn't have brought it up. A friend of mine actually posted on Facebook after, in the heat of all that going on. He said, wow, I never knew how many of my friends had summer homes in Haiti. Yeah, pretty sarcastic guy. I got a snicker out of it. It got a like from me. Not many things on Facebook get a like from me these days. That one got a like. I was, yeah, so
I don't know. I mean, I guess people have their ideas of the country representing freedom and not, it doesn't matter. It shouldn't matter. Some people, I guess, it shouldn't matter where you're from.
Mm-hmm.
So
are we upset that he says we don't want people from crap hole countries, or that we shouldn't call these countries crap hole countries?
We have rules for, how many people we accept from what countries. I don't feel like we probably don't hold them all the same and everyone's the same, but I don't know. I guess maybe people hearing it actually said makes them upset.
Mm. Well,
that's not treating people equally. That's not, one human race.
Well, actually, if you think about it that way, Sarah Huckabee Sanders said this, and it was my first thought because they were discussing the visa lottery, where we take a person from a country to fill a quota. And so even if there's nobody from Haiti that normally just in a lineup, we would go, okay, you on a merit-based system, you should come into the country. We go, oh, we need a Haitian. We'll take you, I guess, because we need a Haitian. And so you come on in. The idea of why are we demanding more Haitians? Doesn't that seem like racist to go, you don't get in because you're not Haitian, regardless of whether or not you check all the other boxes, just because you're from Norway, as an example. We're gonna take a Haitian and give him a visa because that's what we're doing. In that context, it's actually more prejudicial to say we'll take somebody from Haiti because they're from Haiti.
Discriminatory. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does sound discriminatory.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's a perspective on that can be viewed. But or there's the other perspective of, if you don't want more people from Haiti, it's because you don't like brown people. I actually
Haitians.
looked up Haitians. I actually looked up the demographics. It's like 13% white in Haiti, which is different than you'd expect. Maybe that was, it was 13% of pure European. No, that wasn't Haiti. That was El Salvador. It was El Salvador. I was looking up the demographics in those countries. El Salvador is 13%. It had listed on Wikipedia pure European descent, and I'm like, really? You got to put it that way? How many white people are there? Do you mean pure white people? Because I know that's a technical term, but it looked like a loaded statistic. But yeah,
Wikipedia.
I think it would be interesting. It'd be interesting if people are complaining because Anyway, I don't know. Like 1 out of 10 people in El Salvador is like a European person. So it's like we end up just getting European people for like the next 10 times because it's a lottery. And how do we roll a 10 every time? Anyway, statistics,
I don't know.
statistics humor. I would find that funny for some reason. Ironic. I would find that ironic. Funny as an odd. Alrighty. Well, that's all I had for today. Hey, Constantine, you're a trooper, dude. I appreciate you hanging in the chat there. Outrage culture, yes. I was obviously talking about the what's his name? Did you? I don't know how much of these kinds of things you watch on a regular basis, Joe, but some of the videos of these people freaking out and getting like emotionally offended at Trump's comments were.
Oh no, I
Over the
steer
top.
almost completely clear of
Oh, really?
any videos that are political. I just have zero interest.
Yeah.
I usually just watch science stuff.
Yeah, it's funny because when I'm like when I get tired of watching what is his name? The guy with the silver hair who looks like he's trying to be like a J. Crew model or something. I forget his name. It's not Dan Rather. What's the guy's
I
name?
don't know.
Constantine. I don't know, but he was like crying on TV. It was just like, I can't believe he would disown the Haitian people. They're beautiful people. And it's sad. You can say that without trying to appeal to people's conscience by crying. Yeah, when I want to get away.
Were you imitating him? His
Yes.
voice?
No, that's not. He was crying, so it's not how he sounds normally.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's really
Yeah, 'cause
famous.
it actually
famous.
sounded like somebody that I knew. I think.
Yeah, he's famous. I
Anderson?
forget his name. Anderson Cooper.
Yeah.
What? I didn't sound like Anderson Cooper, but that's who I was thinking
Yes,
of.
you
Yeah.
did. Are you serious? That's who you were thinking of.
That's who I was talking about. Anderson Cooper did his
No
whole
way.
like
No
stand
way.
up straight and turn halfway to the camera and kind of look in and be like, I'm a little misty eyed because it's important that people respect Haitian people.
No, that was a good imitation.
Thank you.
That reminded me of him, and I didn't even know who you were talking about.
What was his name?
You said Anderson.
Anderson Cooper. Yes,
Cooper?
thank you. I was just
Or
trying to type
Coop-
Andy. Yeah, Cooper. Yeah, here we go. We'll just end on this note. Hello, I'm Anderson Cooper. Open. There it is. Sheesh. That's the guy right there. He looks like he's trying to be a model. I don't blame him. I mean, he's symmetrical and
Yeah.
stuff. He's got a good hairline.
He's got to look good. He appears so.
I would trust that guy to give me
TV a lot.
news. Yeah, I would trust him to give me news.
Mhm.
Not maybe from the look of him, not based on past experience. But the roundabout way of saying, when I'm trying to get away from all the people crying and whining on TV over Trump's tweets and things, I usually go to
He is an emotional guy, though. More emotional than the average person.
Oh, yeah. That might be true.
It is true.
Is that a veiled is that a veiled dig at the fact that he's gay? Because I just
No,
have to
no,
say
he's
no. I'm
literally-
just gonna say, Joe, that's a little intolerant of you. It's insensitive.
No, I don't. I didn't say there's something wrong with being emotional, and I actually don't care about his sexual orientation. But
Obviously not. I'm sorry.
he
I'm
did-
putting you on the spot on purpose. I'm being.
no,
Yeah.
that's fine. I appreciate being able to clarify my views. But yeah, he is emotional. In fact, do you remember that? Do you remember when we? I forget what it was. I found a video of him. He just completely lost it over a joke.
Oh,
Like he laughed so hard he started crying. I
it
think.
was like an inappropriate joke, wasn't it? It's like something about like butts. I forget. It was something
I
stupid.
think it was like a bath.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was something.
Giggled like a
bathroom
girl
humor or
over. What is
something,
this?
Yeah. Anyway, that was just my point. You know, he's a little more sensitive, so I am actually not surprised that he would be. Yeah, something that.
It's really so stupid.
son. Have some self-respect.
Just gotta let it out.
Oh, that sounded like a plastic bag he wiped his face with. That did not sound comfortable. Yeah. Sheesh. Yeah, that guy. What was he laughing at? I remember seeing the beginning of that. I don't remember what it was this time. Cool. Yeah, that was good. Don't play again. Turn off. There we go.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah, I guess, if he feels passionately about something, I wouldn't be surprised if he.
If he can't stop from laughing on TV, he
in a-
probably can't stop from crying.
Yeah.
You're so charitable, Joe, giving people the benefit of the doubt, looking on the bright side. Yeah, like I said, when I want to get away from all of that crying and laughing on TV, I usually go to tech videos, like tech reviews or other such things. So, kind of like you said, watching science videos because they're interesting and
Yeah.
not political. What was really weird was around the 2016 election when even my tech videos were getting they were like between the lines political. I don't know, saying things that, like, a lot of them are based in Canada, and they're like, and if you're in the U.S., you want to buy this, of course, while you're all still there, like little things like that I'm like,
Little digs.
they live in a world too. Just because they only do tech doesn't mean they have no idea what's going on. All right, well then let's unless you had something else, you disavow. Constantine disavows. Anderson Cooper maybe. I don't know. Unless you had something else, I think we can call it that. Call that it. That was
Just an announcement that capitalism is spreading to the moon.
that was it. I knew there was something else I had missed. Is capitalism spreading to the moon?
According to this news article, companies are like trying to plan ways to get the resources up there, including water.
Wow, really?
Some are focused on getting things there. Some want someone to focus on taking things from there. Well, yeah, I mean you gotta bring things to there, like people, in order to take.
I wonder how much.
In order to take resources from there.
I wonder how much of the moon you could safely remove from the moon, and like so that it doesn't lose its geosynchronous orbit. It's not geosynchronous before it loses its orbit.
Oh, you mean to like alter its orbit? Well, I mean, it's pretty big. It's like a sixth of the size of Earth. That's a huge amount. I mean,
so wait, it's not. It's not a geosynchronous orbit. Are we in like a lunar synchronous? Is it in a lunar synchronous orbit? Because a geosynchronous orbit means that it stays in the same spot in the sky, right?
Yeah,
like a satellite would stay
GPS
above Utah, and it would just stay there above Utah. But we're always above the same spot on the moon. So what's that called?
Well, we're tidally locked, or the moon's tidally locked to us, so it's always faces this. Its face always, like the same side always faces us, and the Earth and the moon technically orbit around a common center of gravity.
But is there a word for something?
Each other, but since the Earth is much bigger.
Wow,
like,
I just got a picture in my head of a cartoon of the Earth and the moon holding hands and then spinning like people in those cartoons.
Yeah, that's
like I forget.
Yeah, it's kind of like that.
People in movies where they're like, spinning.
Earth will actually become tidally locked to the moon in a very vast period of time. And when that happens, it'll be very bad. But we'll all be long gone before that happens.
Speaking of being long gone before that happens, hey, Amor Pizza, welcome to the show. Did we start early or something? Sorry.
Amor Pizza stopped in.
Yeah. A comment. Because humans really need more square footage to destroy. I'm serious. Go to Wyoming. There are miles there's just miles of land just sitting there doing nothing. We do.
Well, I mean, at least there's no life that we know about up there. So
not yet.
There's that.
So
not yet.
Oh, Oh well, wow. Sorry, I missed that one whole that.
What's that?
I missed the comment. Rand says he didn't say it. I trust him. I trust Rand too. He has like this rule about not lying. It's part of his code. If you know Rand, he has a code by which he lives. Let's see. Aren't we just little beings? The moon will end up being a new landfill. Well, there's enough craters. I mean, you gotta put something in there, right?
Like uranium, nuclear
Nuclear waste? Why don't we put nuclear waste on like a rocket and just shoot it off into nowhere? Like, look how far Voyager
Because
went.
It's very, very, very expensive.
Yeah,
Not
but
only is uranium extremely heavy.
Fell asleep around 9:15. Well, we went on at 9:25, so why? Yeah. As I'm sure you'll go back and see, we had some serious, severe technical difficulties, which is what Matt just gave up and left, so. This is not what happened.
Great story.
Yeah. Wow, look at that. There's two of them in the chat, and now they're arguing. Perfect. Excellent. Constantine just needed some fuel. Speaking of fuel, we have our first. Oh no, your face froze up. We have our 1 year show coming up on the 1st. So that'll be fun. But in case you missed our announcement, we are moving the show to 8 instead of 9 Eastern. It'll be 8 p.m. Eastern starting next Thursday, giving everybody a break so I can 8 o'clock so that I can stop yawning on the stream. And so that's going to be
So we got to change that.
yeah,
Change our little logo.
got to change the little logo. In fact, I think yeah, that is doable. Hey, look at that.
Actually, did you know
didn't
going
realize that
back
wasn't
to
a
the
picture.
moon?
Going back to the moon?
The
Are we going back to the moon?
Google there's an X Prize competition.
Oh,
I
Google
guess
does that?
sponsored
I thought
by
it was
Google and X Prize.
I thought that was Elon Musk. Oh no. Oh.
I mean, maybe Elon Musk also has something going on, but I know that Google and X Prize have a 30 million, I guess, award to someone who can, by I think March 31st, I think by March 31st, they have to get to the moon, drive 500. Or no, is it? They have to drive a certain distance. I think it's like 600 feet, and then send a postcard back. There's more.
That sounds like a
detailed
reality TV
specifications.
show.
Yeah. So, and they have to do it by the 31st. So
Well, of this
most likely
month?
people aren't going to do it unless they can, unless it's profitable for them without the prize, because they may not win it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But they have to move it 500 meters, I guess.
I remember talking about this last year, like on our 4th or 5th episode. I was talking about people being bribed to go to the moon, or rather, there being a competition. To go to the moon. Yeah, so what am I doing here? Come on.
Looking for the
Is your-
outro.
Is your face back? Your face isn't back. I've got Anderson Cooper taking your spot. Dude,
What?
I need a screen cap of that.
Why do you
It's-
have him in my spot?
perfect.
You should have put him in the left Matt
You
spot.
disappeared. You went
disappeared?
blank. You went blank. Yeah. So. Oh no! Where's my? 3 monitors is too many. My cursor gets lost. Dang it! No pun intended. Here it is. All right. Well, that concludes another episode of the Matt to Matt Show. Thank you guys so much for stopping by and hanging out in the chat. There it is. And as a reminder, you guys, we will see you at 8 next week. But of course, if you have subscribed and you click the bell, you'll know when we're live because you will get the fancy alert on your phone. We only go live once a week, so you won't be inundated with a bunch of alerts. Hopefully, Matt will be back next week unless he still is under that pile of... unless he's still under that pile of homework. Might be. I don't know. I'll have to text him in a couple days and see if he's alive. We will we will see you guys next week. Have a good one. Yeah. Ow. Ought to be good.